Bengals trade reports are escalating. A report reveals a wild move. With the ongoing dispute with Trey Hendrickson and the Bengals during contract talks, there is a report coming through of a new landing spot for Trey Hendrickson. We're going to break down this report and what it could mean for the Bengals and Trey Hendrickson. Welcome to the jungle. This is Isaac Coffman with Bengals Digest. Happy to see you and all you Bengals fans. We are less than a week away from training camp now. If you want to be up to date on all the breaking news as they happen, smash that subscribe button. Join in on the conversation. There's so much to be discussing as we come up to training camp, especially when it comes to Trey Hendrickson and all the contract talks and trade reports that are coming out of where he could be landing. So the recent one that just came out is showing an interesting spot, one that was not in the past. They've been talking about the Lions. 49ers have also been another team that seemed to show interest in landing the sack leader of 2024. The recent report has come through. It looks as though the Green Bay Packers are very interested in Trey Hendrickson. And when you break down their specifics of their needs, what they can do when it comes to cap space, this is actually an intriguing report. This is an intriguing spot for Trey Hendrickson to land. And this is coming from the Bleacher Report. This is the specific quotes coming from Matt Holder. He says the Hendrickson contract saga has been going on for a while, and a resolution doesn't appear to be in sight. Meanwhile, the Bengals used a first-round pick on Shamar Stewart, who is also engaged in a contract dispute with the club. And they have Joseph Osai and Myles Murphy to line up at defensive end. If Cincinnati isn't going to pay the 2024 sack leader the money he's looking for, then it should trade him sooner rather than later to maximize its return. Very interesting to think Green Bay is going to be a possible landing spot. And you're talking a team that is possibly in contention as well. So it makes sense. It just comes down to what would be the return. I'm not sure what kind of return they can get, because going back to at the beginning of the year, they gave Hendrickson an ability to seek a trade partner. He was coming back and saying there was interest. There was possible trades. However, the Bengals shot it down. They said that they wanted a first-round pick. None of those kinds of offers were coming through. So the trade talks kind of died down a little bit. There wasn't much talk of that, but now it's starting to ramp up. Again, training camp is next week, and it's just going to be interesting. Got to keep an eye on what's going to be going on, because if true, this is going to be interesting, that the Packers are the ones that would throw their hat in the ring, so to say. Because no doubt there's all kinds of trade offers out there. He's been on the trading block ever since then of seeking a trade. So who knows? The injuries happen. Teams get more desperate. They start to fantasize or think, what would it be like with Trey Hendrickson on our team? And that's where things happen. Going back to Carson Palmer. This is a guy that retired, so-called quote-unquote. He would not play for the Bengals anymore. And there was almost half the season where he was retired. He stood firm to his word that he was going to not play for the Bengals anymore. And sure enough, the Raiders have an injury at quarterback and give up. It was a first-round pick. I believe it was actually another. That's one I'll be sure to look up again. But going back to, could a team do that with Hendrickson? It's crazy to think. And here's the reason why. He goes more further into the report. He said this would depend on how much money Hendrickson is looking for, but the Packers currently have $35.5 million of cap space available in 2025 per over the cap, and need an edge rusher. Granted, OTC lists Green Bay's 2026 cap space at just $17.1 million, so this would take some financial maneuvering. If the Cheeseheads can make the finances work, their Super Bowl odds should see a significant increase by adding last year's sack leader. This is pretty interesting to consider. They have $35.5 million in cap space this year. Now, given he brings out next year is more like 17.1, but just imagine that. They have 35.5 to work with. If you're talking money is an issue, well, for this year, Green Bay may be willing to go all in. Not so much of we're going to have him long term, but we can go all in this year. Hendrickson wants a long-term deal, but can Duke Tobin, can the Packers come to some kind of agreement where he does get some kind of extension, but most of it is front-loaded? It comes down to, are all sides going to be happy? It's like anything. Any agreement, that's what an agreement is. They all have to come to it. What is making this so interesting is some breaking news has just come across, and this is going to make it very hard to sign Trey Hendrickson now, in my opinion. When I saw this headline, I knew it was going to be a matter of time, but this is where the trade talks might heat up even more. This was just breaking that now TJ Watt has been signed. He is now the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. This is not good news for the Bengals. It was coming down to, is Hendrickson or TJ Watt going to be signed first, because they're going to set the new benchmark. Myles Garrett obviously did that at $40 million. Well, TJ Watt, who is also up in age like Hendrickson, up in age, quote unquote, of concerns. That's why the Steelers were not looking to sign long term. But here it is, $41 million per average. It's a 3-year, $123 million extension, and it includes $108 million guaranteed. So this is going to make trying to sign Hendrickson that much more difficult. I don't know if they're going to be able to re-sign him, but the chances of my thought of they're going to re-sign him just went down. I could see this trade actually happen now. I could see, as much as the Bengals won a first-round pick, Hendrickson, again, had those trade partners, but they did not want to give up a first-rounder. I think this is going to be almost, if they can't sign the way Bengals are actually going to go, I could see it happening more likely than ever now, because there's no way the Bengals are going to pay $40 million to Hendrickson. Hendrickson now has this as ammo to take to the table. Look, TJ Watt just got signed, and he's had his injuries. I have been reliable. I've been there. You know he could do that. And the knock on Hendrickson is that he is under contract. He's not a free agent. But, TJ Watt was able to do the same. He was also under contract. So the drama just seems to unfold more and more. The plot thickens. That's the best way to put this. What are the Bengals going to do? Are they going to try and get some kind of extension where they can pay Hendrickson more? Because there's no way they're going to come out and just pay him more. I don't see that happening. It's a possibility, but I think they're going to stick to their guns and say, this is what you signed for. We are open to an extension. That's where maybe the guarantees, things might come more up front. But with this recent signing, I could see the trade possibility being more of an option for the Bengals. I think they're going to give that a second look. I believe at first they really shot that down, knowing they're not going to get that first-round pick. Now, with this news, I think they're going to take a second look. So be ready. Green Bay might be the next destination. You're going to see Trey Hendrickson come 2025, or even for next year. But it remains to be seen. What do you guys think? Do you think this is going to be a possibility of Trey Hendrickson not being in the stripes, being on another team? It's hard to say, but again, we are so close to training camp. Stranger things have happened. This might turn up the heat even more on these trade reports. Comment below what you think. Do you think they're going to be able to re-sign him with this new news coming out of TJ Watt and his contract and the numbers that he was signed to? We want to hear from you guys, and anything else about training camp that's coming up. We'd love to hear your thoughts, what you're looking forward to in this upcoming Bengals season. Well, that's going to do it for now, guys. As we say, Hoo Day.